to the Utah Puck Report. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, and as we keep learning more about our NHL team, we finally get to the chance to talk to the man that gave us an NHL team. Ryan Smith is our special guest today. Ryan, thank you so much for being on the show.
Appreciate you having me, Jay, and thanks for always supporting this endeavor, man.
Oh man, it's this has just been a dream that I didn't even know I had. And and the first time we met, you gave me a little bit of grief because I was wearing Vegas Golden Knights stuff. And you can't see it. You can't see my video. I'm wearing a Utah. When this video drops, I'm wearing a Enforced Utah hockey shirt. It was one of the first ones available. It's in jazz colors. I don't know if you saw it from the Violent Gentleman Hockey Club. So I'm all Utah hockey gear from here on out.
Let's go. Let's go.
First off, before I get to any questions, I just want to say you called me the day you bought the team, and you said we did it, and I was so worried about making sure that I was doing my diligence as a media guy that I wanted to make sure I asked you the right questions, and because you gave us the opportunity to break the story of the deal being done. And the thing I didn't get to say that's haunted me since that day, and from every hockey fan, every hockey player, everybody that's been in Utah that's just touched the ice at all, we just want to say thank you.
Well, I appreciate it. It means a lot. I remember talking to you, and just it was kind of a little bit of a culmination of what we knew existed here was this hockey culture. I've always told everyone that if you meet people who played hockey growing up and you don't play hockey, they want to spread the word of hockey like unlike any sport I've ever seen. And there's something that goes on the ice from a teamwork, from a life lesson standpoint. And when we first met, that was like a mission of yours in life. And it was cool. It was especially to have you in your spot. It's kind of the only one really covering it here, to be able to say, okay, we're going to go build all this together. And that's exciting. We got a lot of work to do, but I think we're doing this. I've always said this is a community asset. It's for everyone. And you should feel that moment from here on out. Everyone in the hockey community should feel like, okay, we're in at the ground level. The puck hasn't dropped yet. It's going, and we're going to be there. That's how everyone should. That's how we want people to feel.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are feeling it. I mean, it's been nonstop for me since this started. And we joke around about it. Like I've been in this building for 8 years and nobody knew who I was. I'd come in, do my podcast, and people are like, "Who's that guy in the elevator with us? That creepy mustache." One of the things I wanted, this doesn't even come close to, you gave us an NHL hockey team, but I got you something, and I see that you have the bag.
Yeah. Should I open it?
Yeah, let's open it up. I know your office space is going to get a little bit colder, and as a firefighter, these are the absolute best. They're called work shirts, and this quarter zip is going to keep you warm now that your Delta Center is going to be cold year round. That thing, we live in those as firefighters, and there is not a more comfortable shirt, and that's like the best gift I could think to give you, and I'll get one for Ashley too if you think she'd wear it.
I appreciate this. This is awesome. I'll totally rock this, man.
Yeah, don't go out and start trying to put out fires or anything, but definitely.
Hey, I'm gonna rock it right now. We'll do this interview in this. I like the back. It feels like you're part of something. Feels like your name and your logo and everything's on the back. It's right too.
Yeah, I love it.
All right, we're in.
All right, that looks great, man. I can't tell you how much that means to me. So this is a unique opportunity. You've been on a lot of shows. I see, you're on Hans and Scotty the other day, and that was awesome. And but for us, you're talking to just hockey people right now. Can you do like a brief introduction of who you are and how you got involved with hockey?
Yeah, it's not a straight path. When I was 15 and 16 years old, I worked at a company in South Provo, Utah. We actually hangared out at Provo Airport. And I was a young kid with a bunch of it was one of the first tech companies in Utah called iMall. And my uncles worked there. And they decided that we were going to start in a hockey league. And we started officially by renting out classic skating at night. And we'd rent like from 10 to 11 every Wednesday night, and we'd all go play and just destroy ourselves, like going full speed. No one could stop very well. And it was so much fun. And so we entered in the roller hockey league to start. We were the Hanson brothers. And, and I don't know how long we lasted in that league. And then we took it to the ice a few times, but not everyone had the equipment. But that was like my first time where I was like, this is super fun. And I could always skate and rollerblade, and like, so it worked out. And then I kind of lost track. I mean, I obviously spent a lot of time with hoops and golf, and there's only so much time in the day with kids. And and then watching the nights, going to a couple games, seeing the impact, seeing the growth of hockey. And then about 3 years ago, Ashley and I, almost 3.5 years ago, started spending time up in Idaho a little bit in the summer on the lake. And all of my neighbors are hockey players. And so
Yeah, you have some pretty big names that live by you, right?
yeah, and it's like this hockey community. And so I would play golf with these people every day. I'd be like, these are the most normal humans I've ever met in my life, given what they've accomplished and where they're at in a growing sport. And then as I got to know Bettman, I got to know more people, I just kept thinking, like, this would work really well in Utah. Just getting to know the people, the players, the dynamics of the game. And then the more I discovered that there was this subculture and limited ice time, and the more I poke around, people were playing at 1 in the morning, and then also understanding the demographic of Utah, where we're the only, we're the winter sports capital of the world, and hockey's not part of it. That's kind of crazy if you actually take a step back. And then watching the Frozen Fury, I remember sitting there, was it 2 years ago, just sitting there for an hour talking with Luke Robitaille from the Kings, going, okay, what's this got to look like? How does it have to be? So it was on a journey. And I'll be honest with you, I feel like the journey should have kept going a couple more years before we're in the spot that we are today, where we officially close, where docs were signed, money was wired, everything on the team. And so, but for whatever reason, it happened now, and you can't make it up. It almost happened so quick that no one had a chance to think about it. And so I feel like I'm like halfway through my hockey journey, and in that process. And the NBA was a lot longer, it was a lot more complicated. And so I think now it's, let's just get ready and go, and we're going to learn on the job.
Yeah, I mean, you have no choice at this point. That's crazy. And congratulations, like you just signed the documents. It's official. The team is real, and it's going to happen. And now we can move forward with all the fun stuff, putting all
There's
the
no
nuts and
turning
bolts
back
together.
now. There's no turning back now.
I had heard a rumor that maybe the first time you'd actually thought about the NHL in Utah was when somebody just mistakenly reported that you were going to buy the Pittsburgh Penguins. Is that real? Did that really happen?
That was actually one of the things that kind of, like, I got a call on that, and Chris Armstrong, who you'll know and everyone will know, was like, who we brought in, and to help us run hockey. Like he got that call, and I got that call, and it was like, wait a minute, is that a possibility? And we hadn't fully gone there yet. We've been starting those conversations, but it wasn't like a moment. And I knew the group who did buy the Penguins, and at Fenway, and kind of watching their thesis. I think the difference is they're in Boston, and Penguins are in Pittsburgh. And so with us, it would have to be something that was in Utah, because as everyone knows, like, I love sports. I think we're building an incredible platform for sports and entertainment, but I'm only passionate about Utah. And so then you start looking at like, okay, well, how would that even work? It's a lot more complicated than just going and purchasing a team in another state. It's like, how do you actually get one here? Especially because, NBA has been talking about expansion for 8 years, and NHL is in that same spot.
Yeah, it's amazing that you pulled it off this fast. We're just so excited that it all happened this way. You mentioned that you've been to NHL games, and you and I have talked about the NHL experience. And I was writing an article based on the not even the difference between an NBA experience, but the NHL experience. Based on what you saw in Vegas, how do you expect? What do you think your NHL experience is going to be like here, outside the arena, inside the arena? What do you hope your fans are going to take away from this engagement?
Yeah, I think everyone's a little different. I know people of our organization have been all over the world in these playoffs, really trying to capture the different cultural feel of these arenas. I mean, it's a show. I think it helps that you know, there's three different breaks in a game, and like the way that you can plan a little bit more. Um, as we kind of go pregame, and then the different times that we're able to move, like we're able to plan a little bit more of an experience, and I think that's interesting. I mean, Vegas is exactly how you would think. I mean, it's like a Vegas show. I think that other teams are learning. It feels like it's very much like someone raises the bar at their experience in the arena. We've done that a little bit in the NBA, but that hasn't been primarily as much of a focus. And I think part of it is, if you think about the ice is the ultimate, like what I would call like backdrop to do pictures and graphics and lights and everything. It's a white canvas, right? And so it almost seems like it's being used like, when you're like a movie screen. And I think that that opens up the realm of possibilities and like really building out that experience. And I think that's something we're going to build as we go. Like once we obviously get the name locked in, the thematic of that and everything else, then I think you snap everything else into place. But it's a pretty amazing experience. I think, whether you're into hockey or not, I think everyone's heard that there's nothing like live hockey. And I think that's what we've got to go live up to as we go, build this out. And we've got to do it in short order. One thing I'm pretty sure of is we're going to have a full house every night, which will be pretty cool.
Yeah, we're pretty excited about that, and yeah, it's those pregame shows that you see on the ice with all the lasers and the videos and making the ice disappear and become lava or become whatever your team is
Yeah.
relevant to your team. It's been amazing. I can't wait to see what you guys do. Um, Another thing we talked about quite a bit is the youth hockey development, and you keep bringing up 70,000 junior jazz jerseys. And then you announce that you're going to have a practice rink at Southtown Mall, which we're all excited about, especially like any chance we get more ice. All the hockey players here just start salivating. Um, what's your vision let's say the next 5 years? How do you see youth hockey growing here? What's the NHL involvement going to be with growing youth hockey here?
Yeah, the first thing that, and I explained this on Hans and Scotty, like it people don't understand. It's the equivalent of having basketball courts where you're right next to the NBA court. And that's pretty uncommon. Like you'll never see that really in the NBA where, I've got our practice facility right behind us here. Could you imagine two junior jazz courts just on the other side of that? Or when the team's gone, people are just playing in here. And that's the benefit of ice. Like it's a custom in the NBA that youth hockey is a massive, massive part of NHL culture. And the reason why is because these guys haven't forgotten about where they came from, and they all grew up in those youth hockey programs, every one of them. And that's become their path. And I don't think so much of this has been the genetic lottery as much as it is like the development, right? And becoming really, really good at your craft. And I really truly believe that as we look at it as our ownership group, we're saying, hey, first of all, how do we land and really build on with what we're doing in Southtown, multiple ice sheets with the opportunity to flex up and truly make that kind of a sports mecca for the area. And I really believe that that's where you can come and you can get outfitted and really interact with the brand down there as well, not just up here in the city. And so I think that's how we view it. That's where tournaments should be. And we're going to try to get as many sheets up there as we can. Um, so it becomes something truly, truly iconic for the area.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. And you've seen, like, for me, we've seen what happened in Vegas, and every time they build a rink, just like here, you build it and it's full right away.
Yeah.
It's at capacity. And then, have you seen Welcome to Wrexham? Have you watched any of
Yes,
that
for
show?
sure. For sure.
Like, just taking that and seeing what a team can mean to a community, and then you keep talking about how this is a community asset, and it goes from everything from naming the team, um, all that stuff. Can you just go a little bit more on how you want to make this a community asset? Does that question
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah, for sure. Like I think as we sat back and said, well, what does it mean to be a community asset? It'd be easy probably just to name the team and get on with it, but we truly want the community to feel like they have a part of it. And I really truly believe that as we're watching people, I was sitting down with someone yesterday, um, and even today in another meeting, hey, I really, really want to get season tickets. And, I'm asking why, not that we don't want you to, but we just want to know why. And it's, well, we can get in at the beginning and feel like and grow with this club and it's ours. And that's pretty much what we're hearing and kind of what we feel as well. It's what you feel. And so it's a feeling that people have to have. And it's not one thing. It's not naming the team. It's not this. I mean, we're gonna have, 3-on-3 and the camp, not our main camp, but our rookie camp and our everything's going to be going on this summer, and we're just going to try to open that up as much as we can to the community. Our goal is to really say, hey, okay, let's say we've got 11,000 or 10,000 great seats and another 7,000 seats that have partial view, depending on where you're at. How do we get as many people in those throughout the first couple seasons as we can and expose to hockey to become kind of champions of what they're seeing and what they're feeling and really do that. And then at the same time, how do we get our players to interact with those people as much as we can in the brand? And that's the idea. And so the naming's definitely part of it. The way we're going the first year, having Utah in the jersey, just wanting to include everyone. And I think you're going to see something unique. I think you're going to see people from Wyoming and Idaho and everyone come down. We're already getting a lot of inbounds from people saying, "Wow, this is so cool. We can go adopt this." And look, it worked in Vegas extremely well. Like the amount of people when you go into Vegas, like the Knights, what they've done is absolutely incredible. And they actually set the stage for what that city and state could be for sports that no one thought. No one thought even NHL would work there. And not only is it NHL, it's MLB, it's NFL, and who knows what's next.
Yeah, they definitely set a high bar. But and even with everything else they've got going on, when you go into Vegas, all you see is night stuff. You barely see Raiders stuff. So, and I just hope that is what happens here too. You know, I can't wait to see how much this explodes. I can't wait till we have an official logo. And so do your kids are starting to play hockey now, right? Don't they kind of
A
play?
little bit. I mean, a little bit. I think we need more ice. Once we get the ice down, we'll be in a good spot. But they're I saw the boys this weekend with sticks and playing around. So I don't know. We've got to get them in it there. I gotta free up some time for them. We have them going pretty hard right now.
Yeah, I bet. I can only imagine with your
What
schedule,
what
what
at
their
what
schedule
age
looks
did
like.
you start, Jay?
I'm kind of a unique story. I didn't start till I was 15. I started my
Okay.
sophomore year at Murray High was my first ever team I played for. So I'm not for me to even get as far as I got was a pretty unique story, and I just got lucky. Most of the kids I played with started playing when they were 3, 4 years old. My son started playing when he was on skates when he was 2, and that's pretty common. You mentioned,
We're a little bit behind.
and that's okay. That's the great thing about it. And once I became a firefighter, I got firefighter hockey teams, and I have guys that had never played before. And then we had a
Yeah.
team, and then we were out there at classic skating with you. We had a firefighter team playing in that roller hockey league,
Yeah.
and then that turned into ice hockey, and then we had the guns and hoses, and I've got guys that have never played that started as an adult that play every day now.
Yeah. I
So
did too. There's a group of tech folks who played. They started in San Jose and they kind of created this tech rec league, and now it's one of the biggest in the nation. It just caught on that quick.
wow, yeah, and that was a big market for hockey too at the time when all that tech stuff was going too. And then you
Yep.
got your Domo guys here, some of like the best hockey players in this state. The people that are techie with Domo, most of them aren't
I,
from
I've
here.
never I've never met them. I will though. We'll
Yeah,
meet them.
well, I'm sure they're buying season tickets. So,
Yeah.
um, tell me, so are ticket sales going like you thought they were going to go? Did you run into any hiccups that you
They're
might
going
have?
great. The response has been humbling, to say the least. And you know, the first couple of years, we knew it was going to be limited because of just kind of where we're at on the arena and the amount of work we've got to go do. Um, but we still can feel the demand and what everyone's looking at. And Gary Bettman talked about it last week in his presser at the finals. Is just how well it's going, and that's not. I mean, our team's amazing. They're working day and night. I mean, the puck drops in less than 100 days. That's insane.
That is insane.
Like people do. The amount of work that goes into this, let alone just the Jazz season to to adopt and land a team. I mean, just from players where they're going to live. I mean, we're looking at where players are going to live, where we're going to practice. Everything has to be done, and then scheduling. And so to watch the community come out, one of the things I'm super surprised with is the amount of people who winter in Park City who are buying season tickets,
Oh yeah,
who who have never really, they've almost felt like outsiders a little bit, but spend so much of their year here, and a lot of them are Utah residents, now coming in and saying, "Hey, we want to get in on this," or the excitement of Mike Weir saying finally, and coming in, and he's the captain of the President's Cup up in Canada this year, like having him come in and choose his tickets and just cannot wait. There's 1,000 of these stories of people saying, "Hey, this is our chance to come do this," and it's great.
yeah. I've been talking to a lot of my friends, my men's league team, other firefighters. I know everybody's going in. A few of my friends had their meetings this morning and bought their tickets. Speaking of Park City, did you see that new practice rink they're building? Well, it's not a practice rink, but it could be. Did you see that new rink up there?
Yeah, I've heard of it. I haven't seen it, and they've reached out, and I know our people have been up there. Unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to go up there and see it for myself, but I know exactly where it is, and I've driven by it before, and I had no clue that that's what was going in there. Obviously, I wasn't looking for it at the time, but that could be a pretty cool setup.
Yeah, and it's crazy. Like since you've
Have
announced
you
the
been up
NHL
there?
team, yeah, I went up there after I skated last week. I drive up to Park City twice a week to play hockey, and I just ran over to see it, take some pictures of it, and I'm just blown away. And then I've got their mock-ups of it, and it's just phenomenal. And then I just kind of got told about one coming to St. George, and like they're just popping up. So it's already growing. Like hockey is just going to take over the state. Like you said, we're going to be a hockey state.
Well, we just launched mountain basketball here with the Jazz. It was crazy. We did a bunch of research, and we have more courts per capita in Utah than anywhere else really on the planet. Definitely in the states, and with the youngest demographic. And so I think if you look at where hockey can go, and mountain basketball is something that we can authentically own, I think hockey's going to be a big part of that as well.
Yeah, I hope so. All right, let's talk about your team a little bit. You got the draft coming up. You're in the middle of a rebuild. It's crazy how much and I'm just learning more about the Jazz.
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't admit that to you, but I'm learning more about the Jazz, and I'm looking at the Jazz, and I'm looking at the team you have, hockey wise, and I'm seeing so many similarities of the rebuild. And so now we've got the draft coming up, and what are you looking forward to in the draft? I mean, obviously you got to sign your e-bug first, and we can talk
Yeah.
about that later. But you've got the rebuild, and now you got to see, you can compare it to the Jazz, and then you also see the work that Danny Ainge did with the Celtics. So I want to talk about just how you want to go about the rebuild. What year are you, and how many years do you think it's going to take, and how do you compare that like to what the Celtics are paying off now, obviously?
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, the one thing I know is there's more free agents in hockey than there are in the NBA right now.
Yeah,
Because of the way the collective bargaining set up is, there's a lot of teams that will make trade offs and say, "Hey, I can only sign one or the other." Where it seems like in the NBA, they sign them both and deal with it later, right?
right.
Uh, and so, on the Celtics, you almost have 5 All-Stars on that team, right? And look, it'll work great this year. I think they'll have to definitely pay coming up. I think Derek White's got to be re-signed, and a couple other guys, and they'll have to make some of those decisions. But a hockey, it comes a lot sooner and a lot quicker, and you can't really jump into that level. And so there's really a line that you can't cross. But there are similarities. I'm learning it too. I mean, I met a lot of the guys, but in talking with Bill Armstrong, it seems like they started a little bit before us and kind of this young talent phase, and they've got a lot of great talent. And I think there's places where I think everyone believes they can add um, experience or areas, but I'm just trying to support them as much as I can. Um, I'll be honest, like the worst thing I could do is probably come in and start opining on hockey players and
Yeah.
what's going on. I mean, we brought Chris Armstrong in and Bill Armstrong. People are gonna love that coming in. They're not related. And really trusting those two and the team. I do know that 2 weeks ago you had the entire international scouting team of hockey at the Grand America for a week set up in their war room. And then, the coaching staff came in, Bear was here. It was incredible. Like I went over there watching them all go to work and the detail and the level that they're putting in. It was pretty awesome. We've got the 6th pick to start out, and we'll see. We'll see where they want to take it. I think they're patient, but we also have a bunch of young guys. I mean, if you think towards the end of the year, a couple of those wins with a lot of noise going on in the future of that team, they were playing against playoff teams who were kind of fighting for their lives, and got beat by this young group. So I think we just want to put an exciting product out there.
Yeah, I think that's like, I watched some of their games last year. Not as many as I would have. I would have known they were going to be our team, but I definitely watched a bunch of games with those players last year, and they are exciting. And that's quite a core. Logan Cooley, I mean, the highlights that he has, they're just, and Clayton Keller, those two kids, I call them kids. I know they're not kids, but they're so young in their career, and they have so much potential and to build around them. And with so much cap space, is it easy to kind of look at maybe taking a shortcut and being like, let's go for some big names now and let's try to make the move now? Or is it
That
better?
It's the exact same conversation we have on a daily basis with the Jazz.
Yeah. So
It's exact. It's the exact same, and you just kind of need to play them out. You need to play them out. You need to be open minded because the right shortcut could be really good. The wrong shortcut could be really, really bad. You know, and I think everyone wants to take a shortcut if you can get it, but it's got to be the right one. And then it becomes not a shortcut. It's just sped up.
It's a detour, right? Like, so,
Yeah.
but like you see, it worked with Boston, but for a long time, Boston fans didn't get it, and they didn't like Danny Ainge, but you just don't get it. So, what do you say to the fans? What do you just say,
Well,
be
I mean, in
patient?
Boston, particularly, like I'm watching Jalen and Jason play together and go, if I'm those two dudes and the whole world has tried to divide those guys up, the whole world has told them they can't play together, they can't win together. And, they've had to learn and lose a bit, but that was the big thing. And to Boston's credit, they tuned out all of the noise and said, we've got two studs that we're building around. And, from what it looks like, they're trending in the right direction. But you put, I don't know, you put Derek White, you put Drew Holiday and Porzingis around them, and like it's pretty amazing. And those pieces are a little bit more gettable. Not saying that they're super gettable, but a little more attainable than finding a Jason or a Jalen, right? These are max contract guys. And so I think that it's clear that we've got a couple of those young pieces that are, up there in that thing. So what do you put around them, and how do you go, and what's the time frame to accelerate? And I think hockey with, what I'm learning is like 7 and 8 year contracts. We don't have those in the NBA. That's what we used to have in the NBA. That used to be the Carl and John years. And so you sign someone to their first contract and their second contract, they spend a career with you. That's just not what happens. The Steph and the Jokic, and that's crazy to do. I mean, you've truly got to be doing something special to get an entire career with someone.
Yeah, and I hope that's a culture that stays with hockey. Is that some of those guys get to, they almost appreciate the fact that they were drafted by a team. They'll stick around longer. You go back to Kirby Puckett or John Stockton. That at contract negotiations, they say, "Hey, I want to stay here. Just don't embarrass me. Make it worth it." And hopefully, that's the culture that hockey still has. That's the culture I've kind of known of it. The UFA part, they start trying to go wherever they can. And I guess that's really it. I know I've already gone over the time that I had, but those are the questions I had. Again, we just want to thank you as hockey fans here and let you know that we're very excited. And like you said, Utah fans are going to show up, and we're those fans, man. We're going to be there, and we're excited
Yeah.
for the product that you guys have.
Well, I think we announced a draft party, so we need all the community's help to figure out how we're going to have our first hockey draft party. We've never done this one before, so it should be exciting. We'll reach out to you and the community and get everyone going.
Yeah, I plan on coming to. I was going to go to Vegas for the draft, and then I started hearing that you guys are going to have a party here, and I thought, you know what? I think maybe I'll just stay here. Maybe I want to be more involved here and see what's going on. I can't wait. This sounds like a great time.
Well, we appreciate you all. This is something that the whole community can grab onto. There's no, like, we want that. We're dropping this off. We're handing this to everyone, and we're sincere about it. Like, I think everyone, probably thinks there's alternative motives or naturally believes that. There's just not. Like, this is a hockey club, and from our group, we're just excited to bring nice things to Utah.
We're excited to have it, and I'm sorry that you get conspiracy theories. I'm sorry that sometimes you got to shut out the haters, and I don't know why they're haters. I seriously, I get, I post questions all the time on the Utah Puck Report Facebook page and Instagram, and I'm surprised at some of the angry comments. I'm like, who hurt you? Why are you angry? We have an NHL team. You just go watch the hockey, have fun with
it. Hey, that's part of it. If you don't want people to be angry, don't do anything big.
I guess that's
like, it. The bigger you get in your career, the more people Like, it's just part of it. It's part of it. Like, you've got to, you know, I mean, even this entire process with this team, we're not going to tiptoe into getting an NHL franchise to Utah. Like, we have to be a little aggressive on how we go in and do this, because there are 3, 4, or 5 other cities like willing to pay more money, willing to do more, willing to try to get in to get a franchise, and the NHL chose us, and we got to go. And so I think that what I do know is that everyone will look back and say, wow, this is absolutely incredible afterwards. And that's the same with our downtown project and everything we're doing. Like, we're trying to create really a city that's got a lot more momentum downtown. And we want every tech company to be like, I want to be downtown. And we just want people and flow downtown. That's it. And I think that'll benefit everyone. We want every small business on the planet saying, hey, if I go operate downtown, I can't lose. And that's not where we're at today, but we believe that with 2 anchor tenants of sports and an arena, it's a great block to build around, similar to teams with players.
Yeah, when we've seen it, obviously I'm not supposed to talk too much about that stuff, but we've seen your plans. And as a guy that works downtown, right next to the Delta Center, I love those plans. I love the idea of just being able to go to, like, get there at 5 o'clock and walk around and just enjoy the whole atmosphere and more businesses downtown. It's been getting less and less and less. And now here you've got the opportunity to really change everything down here and revitalize the town. And
it's everyone. It's all there. The building blocks are there. We just have to put it all together, and that's all we're doing. And we're working, and everyone wants the same thing. Utah's such an incredible place. Like, there's nowhere like it. And the deeper I get in, and sometimes it feels like with anything, it's one step forward, a couple steps back. I'm just more proud to, dedicate the energy and the resources that we have towards this state. And like I said, I'm into sports now. It's what our group does. It's interesting because none of my partners really live here, but they're all in it too. They're proponents of this state, and that's a pretty cool thing. Is there's a lot of people rooting for Utah.
Yeah, I got to meet some of your teammates, we'll call them, at the Jazz pep, or not, at the hockey team pep rally. And that was amazing. And that's kind of what they just exude, is that they love Utah too. And they're excited about being in Utah and helping Utah. And here we go, man. We're going to be a real state. We've already had we're the best state in the union. We have everything you could want except for an ocean, but we have big lakes. And now we're going to have like a real downtown. We're going to have NHL, and it's amazing. And you're really you're really kickstarting all of that. We just appreciate it.
It's a team effort. Yeah, it's a team effort. All right. Thanks, Jay.
Ryan, thanks so much, buddy. We appreciate your time.
Thanks for the gift. This is awesome.
You bet. Stay warm,
I like it. If you check out the back, it's all set up there.
You belong, man. Come do a ride along with me sometime.
All right.
All right. And that is the Utah Puck Report.
Want to give a special thanks to Chipman Roofing. These are hockey people supporting the hockey community. It's Chipman Roofing. For all your roofing needs, just check out chipmanroofing.com. And if you like what you hear on the podcast, please leave a review, leave a rating. Wherever you listen to your podcast, make sure you give us a rating. Like to check out kslsports.com as well. There's going to be more hockey on there. As more hockey comes up, it's going to be always right there, kslsports.com. Big thanks to Madison Miller for putting up with us and making this thing work.